Joining me now is Michael Maibach. He is the former president of European American Business Council. Michael, thanks again for joining us here. So quite a remarkable turnout, it seems.
Right.
If this poll is true, it will be the biggest Conservative victory since 1987, but Labor's worst result since 1935 or 1924, depending on which sources you're checking.
Right.
What do you think's happened here, given the fact that the referendum seemed fairly on par to be 50-50 in terms of how people wanted to go in terms of Brexit? Do you think a lot of voters have just simply resigned to the fact that Brexit's going to happen, so we may as well just vote to make it a clean break? What's happened here?
I think the vote is to be admired. I think that it was a 52-48 split country, and for 3.5 years they've been stuck. You know, half European Union and half out. And I think they decided in this election, you know, the people did speak, I might be against it, but we really have to move ahead. And I think it's a very mature, good thing that happened in their form of self-government here. So I think it was a positive thing.
We know, of course, that much of Scotland voted to stay in the EU, and now in this election they've voted strongly for the SNP. Will we see another referendum, do you think, in Scotland for those voters to want to stay in the EU?
Well, the Prime Minister said during the election that he doesn't want another vote. But more importantly, the European Union does not like this idea of breaking up countries. You know, the Spanish went through 2 years ago a very acrimonious problem. They've sent people to jail over the Catalonia trying to leave. And the European Union doesn't want parts of countries to break off and join the EU in that manner. So the Spanish and others would actually block it if the Scots tried to join the EU. So I think it's a dead end for them. It may feel good, but I don't think it's going to work.
Now, obviously, down the line, we're going to see a development in new trade deals between a newly formed UK and other countries like the US. The British pound is already surging against the dollar and the euro. What might this mean for the economy and for trade deals?
The British economy is the 5th largest in the world. So they do have a lot of, I think, bargaining chips in global trade. I think there's going to be 2 parallel tracks for sure in the next 12 months. While some British officials are going to work with the EU for a free trade agreement, they're going to go to Washington, D.C., where there have already been preliminary talks with the Washington government, with the U.S. trade rep, to see if they can't negotiate a U.S. trade deal as well as one with the EU. They may also look into joining TPP, which out in the Pacific has 10 countries. And then finally, maybe they'll look into joining the USMCA, which is just going to pass any day now in the U.S. Congress. That's another place for them to go.
Okay, we'll have to see how things unravel over the next few weeks, months, and perhaps years. Thanks very much for your time, Michael.
Yes,
Michael Maibach there.